Alright, today we're going to be diagnosing an in-op window motor, left front on a 4th Gen Maxima. It's a pretty easy job. In this case, I've already obviously taken everything apart, I've already diagnosed it, got a new part for it. I just want to take you through a little bit of diagnosis on this. It's not a, well, you'll see, it's not a very common failure that I've seen. So, start off with, obviously you hear the motor running, and the window doesn't really move. It'll go down, but that's just because of gravity. So, well, first thing we're going to do is take the window out. Luckily, on this one, with the failure mode we have, you can move the glass up and down, so you can get to the two glass to regulator bolts. So what we're going to do is go ahead and take the glass out, so we can get the regulator and motor assembly out, and then we'll test them out in the open. Just two 10mm head bolts to hold the window glass to the regulator, and it lifts up and out. Go ahead and store this somewhere safe. Alright, now we pull the regulator out. We have one harness connection down here for the motor. We have 3 motor to panel bolts. You have 2 bolts up here for the top of the regulator track, and 2 bolts down here for the bottom of the regulator track. And they're all 10mm head. And once those are out, and don't forget to unclip your motor right there. What you do is we'll slide this track out and pull the motor up. And pull the whole assembly apart. So now, connect the motor back up. And I'll just run it, just see what it's doing. Obviously the motor runs. You can see that drum that the cable's on does not move. It moves a little bit, like it tries to. So next, I'm going to go ahead and take this motor off and make sure our regulator assembly is good. So to take the motor off the regulator, you have 3 big Phillips head screws. I use an impact because it's a lot easier than trying to get a screwdriver on there and hold it while torquing on it. You get your big 3 Phillips head screws out. Pull the motor away from the regulator. Put this aside for the moment. Let's work on the regulator. Find an easy way just to check these, make sure they turn freely. Just take a 3/8 square drive and operate like the motor would. You can see it's not hanging up or dragging or catching. Runs nice and smooth. So we know the regulator isn't a problem. So put that down. Bugs in here. And then, so next we'll take our motor. Plug the motor back in. And it looks like it works fine. Spins back and forth, no problem. But when you put them together, when you put this back on, you obviously need to line the square drive up with the regulator. So I cannot see it here. There we go. So you know the motor spins, you know the regulator works, and yet when we try to do it, it does nothing. At first it seems like it wouldn't make any sense. So we'll just go ahead and throw a crescent wrench on that motor square drive and see what it does. Actually hold the square drive in place while the motor actually spins. And also, if you notice, you can just spin that square drive freely, whereas you shouldn't be able to. for comparison, here's our new window motor, junkyard, $10. So you can't really turn that square drive at all. And if I were to plug it up, try to hold that square drive, I'm betting on this one I won't be able to. So it just kicks around. The best part is I can actually show you the failure mode of this window motor. I'll flat head handed, so there we go. The best part is I can actually show you exactly what's wrong with this window motor. So you can spin this. Notice the inside section spinning to come into focus, but not the outer gear. What's happened is the rubber in here is actually separated from that square drive. I'll probably push it right out, but the rubber in there is separated from that square drive. So under no load, it spins just fine, as you saw off the car. But as soon as you throw the load of a regulator on it, it can't do anything. So what we do is install our new window motor. Regulator. Get the motor. Line up the square drive. And line up the 3 mounting holes. Put your Phillips back in. Go ahead and tighten those down. And obviously before we reinstall everything, you want to test it. Always do a function test before putting things back together. Look at that. Sure. Auto down functions right. He's all the way up. And for the longest time I had been having a squeal every other revolution of that drum, which I assume was a cable. Turns out it must have been the rubber coming apart inside that window motor. So now that we know this works, we're ready to go ahead and reinstall it. I'll just kill my battery. Alright. So you go ahead and install it like this. And the window motor has 2 little hooks that hook in the holes in the door panel right here. That'll hold it up. And you can see there's an elongated hole right here in a slot. So you don't have to take the upper left hand bolt all the way out. All you have to do is loosen it up a little bit, and that'll let you hang the regulator in place while you're working on it. Take that upper left hand bolt through the hole and over, and it'll just hang here. In the window motor, what I'll do is I'll find this hooks. Hang those 2 hooks to those holes, so the window motor just kind of hangs out there. Alright, next we run in those 6 bolts. So go ahead and reinsert our window glass. And reinsert your glass to regulated bolts. The nice thing about this is there's not much room for adjustment. So really, as long as you bolt it together, everything should go fine. Just a little bit here for this bolt. And run them bolts down. And let's see. It works perfectly. A little bit slow because my battery voltage is about dead. But it at least works now. Yeah, and that is diagnosing and replacing a power window motor on your 4th gen Maxima.